Attorney General Jeff Sessions considering whether to finally fire former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. McCabe, who is scheduled to retire effective Sunday, could lose what is estimated to be a $2 million government pension. He's worked at the FBI for 22 years. Not bad. Fox News has learned that the FBI's Office of Professional Responsibility made the recommendation to terminate McCabe following several conflict of interest complaints. Congressman Trey Gowdy breaking with fellow Republicans. The House Intelligence Committee certainly. Gowdy claiming Russia was motivated by a desire to specifically hurt Hillary Clinton's candidacy. The Intelligence Committee, in their conclusion, a 150-page report, found no evidence of that. Joining us tonight is Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch. Chris, good to have you here. Let's start with Trey Gowdy, a federal prosecutor. He served in Congress several terms. What in the world is going on with him? He's slow walking, and he and Bob Goodlatte, their investigation on oversight and judiciary, they chair both, of FBI and DOJ corruption. What is going on?
Well, Goodlatte is pretty low energy as far as being a committee chairman is concerned. And Trey Gowdy, you have to remember, is the guy that brought us the 11-hour Hillary Clinton Benghazi saga, where she simultaneously played, hero, victim, and martyr. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, Mr. Gowdy seems to never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Yeah, and so, I mean, what should have been a roasting, turned into her coronation.
Yeah, it's strange. And let's go to another issue, and that's Jeff Sessions. He's considering following the Office of Professional Responsibility's recommendation to terminate a man who did not divulge his conflicts of interest with the Clinton campaign until a week after the Wall Street Journal reported the story, and then only a week before the election itself. I mean, it's staring everybody in the face.
McCabe should neither be fired, or given his retirement. McCabe should be indicted. Let's focus where we need to go here. He should be held in suspended animation on administrative leave until he can be indicted. He should not collect a penny of retirement. He shouldn't be given lunch money. I mean, this guy needs to be looked at. You've already got an OPR and an IG report saying that, he was less than candid, which means he's lying in regular plain English. We know he was involved with Strzok and Page. We know he wandered over to the Obama White House and was briefing Lisa Monaco. We have these records already. This isn't guesswork. Judicial Watch obtained these records through our litigation. So why in the world are we playing patty cake, wondering about whether he should be retired or fired? Let's indict the guy.
Well, and speaking of patty cake, why are we continuing to watch Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan play patty cake with Robert Mueller and the idea of a special counsel, while all of these issues are before us? The corruption at the leadership, in the leadership of the FBI, the Department of Justice, the former Attorney General under President Obama, Loretta Lynch. When we go through this list, it is massively Democratic in substance, in misdeed, and I cannot for the life of me understand why these people do not have the guts to energetically go after and end the special counsel whose obvious purpose, Rod Rosenstein said, Mueller is not an unguided missile. He's a guided missile, is the effect of what he said, and it's directed at the presidency of Donald Trump. It's got to stop now.
And both the Speaker and Mr. McConnell, I mean, they're AWOL. I mean, they are deliberately not engaging. It isn't as though they're sort of, taking it as it comes and addressing the issues as they come up. They're absent. To call them leaders is preposterous.
Well, I couldn't agree more. They are obstructionists, and they are doing the bidding of whomever is aligned against the presidency of Donald Trump. Let's turn very quickly to the next steps. Are we going to see a second special counsel? He has that under consideration. Are we going to see the Attorney General actually raise up the energy and integrity to fire McCabe?
If there's a second special counsel, he has to begin investigating Mueller. That's the problem. That is the sticking point. I think Mueller is playing king of the Justice Department. The Attorney General has essentially been neutralized. And if they did appoint a second special counsel, they literally have to go after Mueller.
And they're very much afraid of doing that.
They are indeed.
Chris, thanks so much for being with us. Chris Farrell of Judicial Watch. Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Lou.